Let's talk about coterminal angles in the unit circle. Coterminal angles are angles that have the same terminal side when measured from standard position. So here is our standard position where the angle measure is 0. And we have two angles, one going in the positive direction and one going in the negative direction. And since they have the same terminal side, they are coterminal. So how do we determine if two angles are coterminal? If the difference between two angles in degrees is a multiple of 360 degrees, they are coterminal. If the difference between two angles in radians is a multiple of 2 pi, they are coterminal. So let's look at some examples where we will determine if two angles are coterminal. We have an angle of measure 10 degrees and an angle of measure 370 degrees. So 10 degrees minus 370 degrees equals negative 360 degrees, which is a multiple of 360, and so they are coterminal. In this next example, I have an angle of measure negative 520 degrees and 200 degrees. Negative 520 degrees minus 200 degrees equals negative 720 degrees. Negative 720 degrees equals negative 2 times 360. So these angles are coterminal. In this example, we have two angles. One measures negative 600 degrees and the other measures negative 60 degrees. So negative 600 degrees minus negative 60 degrees equals negative 600 degrees plus 60 degrees, which equals negative 540 degrees. Negative 540 degrees is not a multiple of 360 degrees, so these two angles are not coterminal. Now let's see if pi over 3 and 7 pi over 3 are coterminal. So pi over 3 minus 7 pi over 3 equals negative 6 pi over 3, which equals negative 2 pi. Negative 2 pi is a multiple of 2 pi, so these two angles are coterminal. In the next example, we have 3 pi over 4 and pi over 4. So 3 pi over 4 minus pi over 4 equals 2 pi over 4, which simplifies to pi halves. Pi halves is not a multiple of 2 pi, and so these two angles are not coterminal. In this next example, we want to see if negative 2 pi over 3 and 4 pi over 3 are coterminal. So we have negative 2 pi over 3 minus 4 pi over 3 equals negative 6 pi over 3, which equals negative 2 pi. And so these two angles are coterminal angles since their difference is a multiple of 2 pi. Now let's look at a few examples where we will find coterminal angles to a given angle. We have a given angle here of 70 degrees. 70 degrees plus 360 degrees equals 430 degrees. So 430 degrees and 70 degrees are coterminal angles. 70 degrees plus 2 times 360 degrees equals 70 degrees plus 720 degrees, which equals 790 degrees. So 790 degrees and 70 degrees are coterminal angles. Now let's find a coterminal angle for the angle that measures 180 degrees. So we have 180 degrees plus 360 degrees equals 540 degrees. So 540 degrees and 180 degrees are coterminal angles. In this last example, we have negative 45 degrees. So we say negative 45 degrees plus 360 degrees equals 315 degrees. So 315 degrees and negative 45 degrees are coterminal angles.